Hello and welcome everybody to our first episode of Total War Today. So this is going to be a kind of a replacement of both the rim rants. I might still do some of those when you know larger things come along, specific things that irritate me. But through comments and things like that from my viewers, I found that, well, at least they said that RimWorld itself didn't seem to lend itself well to trying to do this. Which I understand. I can't stop and not do anything during RimWorld. It's always like I can pause it, but that's kind of boring too. But at least in this, I can mindlessly click on the upgrades and things like that while I'm talking to you, and continue on that way, so that we at least to a degree, get game progression at the same time as being less, what's the word I'm looking for? Less engaged actually in the game, but still allowing people to see a game being played. Because that's kind of what I was hoping for, is something other than just the news going on. And as you can see right here in the corner, I still have the newsreel of whichever one I'm talking about at the time. We're still going to do the same thing where we start off by going in there, and I'll go over all the topics I'll be covering today. I don't know if this will be the how long this will take. I was actually expecting it to take closer to 2 hours versus one, like the morning news. This may or may not stay at this time. I was kind of thinking maybe I could get some people on the West Coast and things like that during their very early morning time, because they also complained about that as well. That I stream at like 5 o'clock in the I do my news at like 5 o'clock in the morning there. They don't want to get up, so yeah. And then, but it also runs into people's lunch times on the East Coast, so it seems like just about the right level of in between. I get the morning people on the East Coast, and I get the lunch people on or morning people on the West Coast, and lunch people on the East Coast. So it kind of gives a little bit to everybody as far as the content itself. So if you guys have any more suggestions, let me know, and I will be more than happy to take those into consideration. And but without further ado, welcome to the first episode of Total War Today. And we're going to be thought about doing the Total War Three Kingdoms. However, with some of the news we're going to go over today, I did not feel like promoting China in any way, shape, or form today. They are finally. I called it a few months ago that they were the biggest threat currently, not because of the coronavirus or any crap like that. They were the biggest threat because they took over their money hub. They went into Hong Kong, which was a free market, which was keeping most of China alive during their transitional period, I guess you would call it. Where they've got to spend a lot of money to set up their infrastructures and things like that. This is allowing them to keep money churning through the system. Because although Hong Kong was a free market, they still paid a lot of money to China. Not all of it. Now they pay all their money to China. There is no Hong Kong anymore, you know? So we will proceed forward from there. We do have them in the news today, but we're going to go over all our news. We have our good news, as always. This is a pretty awesome one, but we will start with Trump accuses Dems of allowing thuggery in response to Pittsburgh diner video. Now, again, I don't play the videos, but the viral video protests in Pittsburgh allow demonstrators, an elderly white couple, Dining at a restaurant outdoors, blaming Democrats for allowing such behavior from their supporters to go on. Now, I mean, he's right and wrong at the same time in this particular statement. Um, Democrats have this, it's basically a don't ask, don't tell policy right this second, where, oh, well, violence is bad, but we're not going to talk about any specific cases of violence. We just want to talk about, how Trump's bad and how he's supporting the violence that's out there. All that violence, that's all on Trump. So they're not going to tell you about any specific thing because it looks bad on them. Because it isn't Trump supporters who are causing the violence. It's Democratic supporters. Or, in all honesty, they're not even Democratic supporters if you want to get down to the nitty gritty. They're communists. They're anarchists at the same time. These people don't want America. These are anti-American people. The fact that, I mean, don't get me wrong, kind of smart on like the Black Lives Matter and the Antifa and all them for picking this time exactly, because Trump is kind of hamstringed because he doesn't want to lose a lot of uh, the middle of the road or the on the verge Democrats, because those are the people who got him into office last time. The swing vote. They ride that line between crazy and not crazy all the time, and he's kind of hamstring stuck if he wants another election. Now, in my personal opinion, he shouldn't care about, like, his main goal should be the people, regardless of if it pisses off the 800 people who slightly lean more left than right, but are on the fence in state, XYZ. Doesn't really matter which state. But so he doesn't take his normal course of action. He's a very uh, shoot at it, throw the big wad of army dudes at it, and what comes out afterwards we'll deal with. That's very much how he does things. He's very throw it at the wall, and then we'll clean up the aftermath. But so his kind of blase, not enforcing anything, not putting forth the things that he could if he really wanted to. I mean, he could by all means declare Portland, Oregon under siege by the Antifa. And regardless of the mayor's opinion or the governor's opinion on or any of the the congressmen's opinions on the state, he could literally send in the National Guard or just actually the active duty military to round everything up, to clean it all up, stop the nonsense. He could absolutely do that. Yeah, declaring martial law, all that fun stuff, right? Not really, but you got to think of it this way too, that if he does that, then, some of those far, like, those slightly left people are going to see it as a, what is the words, patriarchal, like, just a dictatorship kind of thing. And the media will have a heyday with it. They will try their best to make it look like the worst thing he could have ever done. And he's trying his best to, because, he wants to be reelected. But he's trying his best to kind of ride that middle line, and Americans are suffering for it. Now, on the flip side, Joe Biden and all the Democrats are allowing this to happen, knowing full well that they can kind of shift the blame towards him about it. Now, at least that's what they thought at the beginning. So now that this is happening, and people are starting to realize this is only happening in Democratic places. Most of the red states, they have a little bit of rioting, and then kaboosh. They're squashed. They're gone. They're sent back to the Democratic place where they came from, because the police don't care. It's not that they don't care about the lives and the safety of people. they just don't care about the politics because they're in a red state. But if it's a blue or a swing state or anything like that, and in all honesty, Portland, Oregon itself is actually a swing state given enough product from, you know, the red. And that's only because it's three small cities or three large cities that dictate the entirety of Oregon. Same as California has a similar problem. You know, they have Sacramento, um, San Francisco, L.A., you know, Hollywood, Anaheim, you know, that whole area down there, San Diego, but that whole big jumbled of, you know, one big blue blotch, but the 90% of the rest of the state, other than those cities and things like that, are actually conservatives. This is true for a lot of, like, New York's the same way. Um, it's true for a lot of these places, but because they have these massive population hubs that are nothing but Democrats, the rest of the state goes Democratic or Democrats because the population densities in those areas is so much higher than the rest of the population out in, you know, doing the farming and doing, you know, because those farmers, they would absolutely love to have AR-15s out there with loadable magazines because there's coyotes, snakes, um, plethora of other, you know, it's not as bad, not nowhere near as bad as Australia, but there's a lot of shit out there that'll kill you. There's a lot of it. And those people would love to have more reliable, better weapons to defend themselves and defend their farmlands and, you know, things like that. Anyway, I kind of got off on a tangent there, I think a little bit, but yeah, so I wish I'm going to. Is this dude? No. Oh, no. This isn't the right one. I think eventually gets to it, but there's a video. So I'll break down the video. Oh, let's see. Is this the link to it? Let's find out. No. Oh, maybe it is. I don't like Twitter. Go away, Twitter. Anyway, but basically what it rolls down to is there's people at a restaurant. They're just sitting there, and they say elderly, but they're not that old. The dude's maybe in his 50s, you know. The woman doesn't look anywhere near that age. She looks like she's maybe in her late 20s, but that's not the main crux of it. But so the group of protesters or rioters at this point start marching down the street, and there's all these people, and it shows images of the inside of the restaurant as well, not just the outside, where there are people eating their food, trying to, in a way, get back to normalcy, get back to, you know, what we had just before the beginning, you know, just before the beginning of the year, you know, a sense of, you know, well, I want to go out and eat, you know, dinner with some friends, you know, I have the money to spend on it, or maybe, you know, we all have a little bit of money. Let's pull it together, get a group meal. There was one place where one particular part of the video where you could see that was in fact the case. There was like 10 or 20 people, but there was just a little bit of food out on the table, and not because plates had been taken away, because there was a big platter in the middle, and it had like some spaghetti on it and a couple of other things. It was a group meal setting, which if it's your family or you feel comfortable in this situation, everybody's either had it or nobody has the COVID-19, that's fine. Let's get back to some of that normalcy. Let's get back to encouraging family members to eat with one another, things like that. But as they're doing this, you start seeing the sticks get like, cause it was like a gazebo style. It went around. It has like some screens, and you just see sticks start getting jammed into these people while they're sitting there eating. This group of people. They probably knew about the protest, but figure, oh, okay, it was an actual protest, not a riot. They didn't realize that they were in the middle of a riot, I don't think. And as it goes by, they start ransacking this restaurant with people inside of it. They start ramming the poles in there with Black Lives Matter banners and stuff like that. So, hitting people, and then a couple of them come in through the sides and just start yelling at folks who are eating, and obviously they get up and they leave. I mean, they don't. There's an enormous mob of people out there who apparently dislike them. Uh, the woman yelling about, like starts pointing at people, around her, telling them to get on her knees, and they just get up and walk away. Good, don't get on your knees. And then it shows the clip then jumps to outside where there's like a two-person table, and the same woman that was inside the restaurant or the gazebo part of the restaurant walks up, grabs I think it's the woman's drink. It was on the edge of the table, so I'm not really sure on that. But grabs one of the drinks and starts drinking it and puts her hand in their food. You know, and the guy is visibly irritated. And again, she's yelling, Black Lives Matter, you don't have a right to be here, things like that. But they do. They absolutely do have a right to be there. There's no reason why that person cannot be there just existing. And that is the big problem. And, Pittsburgh diners, scaring them, loud taunts, taking their food off their plates. These anarchists are no terrorists, are not protesters. They're Biden's voters. It's disgraceful. He's turning this, I don't like what he's doing. I do like that he's like, no, this is not okay. But weak and pathetic Democrat leadership, this thuggery is happening in other Democrat-run cities and states, must shut them down fast. And I agree with this part here, just this. Because they must shut them down fast. That doesn't, I clicked a button. I don't want that. Anyway. Yeah, so. Biden has been speaking out recently against the violence from the demonstrations and stuff like that, but it's too little too late. And what I mean by that is, for so long, all the Democrats just kept quiet about it because they figure it was going to destroy Trump, because it was his presidency that this was happening. And you'll hear Biden and I don't know, Kamala. They just keep harping on, oh well, this is all because it's Trump's president. This is Trump's America. That's not true. That is simply not true. This is America. It's not Trump's America. It's not your America, Kamala, and it's not yours, Biden. It's our America. And you cannot sit there and point a finger at somebody and say that they're the problem when you are an elected official as well. You may not have the same amount of power as the president, but you are still doing nothing in a seat of power in your areas. Biden did, like, this stuff happened before Trump, too, by the way. This was happening pre-Trump election and pre-election year as well. In 2015 and 2014 as well, this stuff was happening. The media just wasn't covering it. Not to the same degree. And in all honesty, that's probably partly the problem is when they were more peaceful, more, when not, and I'm not talking about when Black Lives Matter specifically came into being, because they were violent in 2016 too. There were riots. There were, all that stuff. And I think they started, and then they realized that the horse that they just picked didn't work out. Now, on the flip side, same things happened here, but they've gotten enough momentum that now it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the original horse that sparked the fire, you know, wasn't the correct thing, wasn't the martyr that he seemed to be. Now, was it a tragedy? Yes. Because anytime somebody dies, it's a tragedy, regardless if it's because of a cop or if it's because they overdose or because somebody else didn't do the right thing or somebody else made a mistake. It doesn't matter. It's a tragedy. But yeah, as far as all of this goes, the Pittsburgh thing, that they need to Democratic cities really need to take a stance on, okay, you can protest until 6 o'clock. That's my theory. If you're truly 100% devoted to the cause, you're going to find a way to I mean, they're protesting during the day anyway, just not in the same numbers. And they're like, well, people have to work, so we're going to protest at night. No, you're going out at night because you intend to riot, you intend to cause harm, and in the darkness you have a sense of anonymity. I cannot say that word lately. You have a sense of security that you're not going to get caught, or you specifically are not going to get targeted unless you do something really dumb. So, yeah. Was Trump right to say that, it's all Biden's fault? No, it wasn't all Biden's fault. It's not all Democrats' fault. I'm sure there are some Democratic people out there who do not fall underneath the let it burn policy. They want to do the correct thing. Speaking of let it burn, that's a good transition for California wildfires. Um, there's two of them. This one's a little more. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. Um, and I more or less wanted to talk about the rolling outages with this. So California has created this everything needs to be green mentality on its whole power system. Like, there's been several attempts that I know of. I don't know specific ones. I just have heard of them in the past where they wanted to get a nuclear power plant in California. This is 100% the correct thing that California needs. California needs at least two nuclear power plants. There's a lot of desert in California. There's a lot of space where nobody lives in California. So if you're worried about a meltdown or something like that, at best you'll lose or gain glowy red crickets. You know, if something should happen, and that's kind of being, I'm being facetious there, but what I mean is if you're afraid that the nuclear fallout or something, like the building's gonna go up, and create this massive explosion. Well, if you put it out far enough in the desert, most of it's going to be contained. You know, it's not going to reach any major cities. Electricity travels over a long distance anyway. California has a lot of its electricity subsidized from other states because other states go, yeah, we'll burn coal for you. Or Oregon will say, yeah, we'll pump that oil into the machines that we draw out of your coast because Oregon, no. Oregon doesn't have drilling platforms off the coast. At least the last time I checked. That may have changed. I heard somebody tell me that it was changed. But that's one reason why Oregon coast always looks so nice is there's not hundreds of drilling platforms off the coast like there is in California. But so Pacific Gas and Electric Company, they're de-energizing numerous electric lines for public safety power shutoffs due to forecasted severe conditions. Now, this has a viable reason because there are certain parts of California that get really, really dry this time of year. It happens every single year since the dawn of time. And we humans really like these places because they're rolling, beautiful hills filled with grass. the ember waves of grain. Uh, it is Tehachapi and all these places. They look really nice. They do. And we like to build houses on top of these little hills so we can see all the other hills. Well, the problem is Mother Nature doesn't care about your house. It's all dead grass, windy. Windy's all get out, and it's hot. And then we pump a bunch of power lines into it because, well, we want wind energy because that's good green energy, right? Well, two things happen when you produce this amount of wind energy. One, those giant windmills, well, they create heat in and of themselves just from generating power. Two, they are giant metal objects sitting in the middle of grasslands. They get very, very hot just from heat absorption from the sun. Well, when the heat finds when you start baking one thing and it's metal, so it radiates heat, and you have 50 of them in a row, and then you skip a distance so that they don't interfere with each other, and then you have 50 more in a row, you create these funnels of microclimate in these areas, around Tehachapi specifically. All these things contribute to accelerated heat in those areas. So it's worse than it has been ever before because of a green power. Solar farms have a similar function or similar side effect. Arizona is ripe with this problem. There will be solar farms in certain places. California has them too. And the surrounding area will just die. Like cactuses don't even grow around these big solar farms. That is how hot it gets. People don't realize that when you create this, especially with the solar farms, a semi-reflective metal landscape that you till over, and then concrete. So now there's not even, what the sand itself can't even naturally absorb some of the heat. You create these super dries, and you'll get some what they call microclimates. Airports have this problem too because they create these big black tarmacs that absorb heat. It's always hotter on a tarmac than it is in the surrounding area. Phoenix, Arizona, take for instance. At knee level, on average, in the Phoenix Air Force Base, it's upwards of 150 degrees with running aircraft, the tarmac, things like that. I know a guy who has the word snap-on burnt into his hand because he left a wrench on top of a wing in Phoenix. He grabbed it and branded snap-on into his hand. He grabbed it without a glove. Now, that sucks. It's a good story, though. Funny story. Tells it when he's drunk. But, yeah, so we get back to the crux of our thing is here. They have all these green energies, and they're creating these microclimates that are causing the forests to be even hotter. So what they have to do is they have to turn down their electricity, because if the power is pumping through it and it happens to throw off a spark, it'll light all of their stuff on fire. So, yeah, so they have to manage that. So that means the people in California no longer have as much power. All of these counties, 22 affected right here, will all have power interrupted today until this is all taken care of. And this happens most every year. But people don't like to get to the heart of the problem. And I find that frustrating. I mean, that's terrible. File photo. But California has 900 wildfires since August 15th. Many of them started by an intense series of lightning. So this isn't all due to human nature. Like, California burns because it's dry. That's what happens. It burns, so that way the soil gets enriched by the ashes, and then new plants will grow. That's how California worked. That's how California's worked forever. We like to build our stuff, and we don't want our stuff burnt down. It sucks. So, and this apparently this particular firefighter, this is just a stock photo, so that's not truly representative of what's actually going on in that particular because of this. But like I said, the gender reveal party is now up to 10,000 acres, and that's ridiculous. I mean, see, look at that. Look at like they are shooting it with water, but look how dry it still is right along here. All through here. It's still dry as dry can be. And that's with a hose spraying. So if you can imagine how dry it truly is. I mean, this is the wake afterwards. This was somebody's shed, more than likely. And it just burns. And it burns quick, too. Oh, here's the, apparently they're having a boy. I sure am glad. Look at the stupidity. Look at all of that grass around this. Wow. No video.
Race for the White House.
Don't care about your race for the White House. Anyway. Yeah. And now we have some Gordon Chung, Orange China, configuring its military to kill Americans. No. Now, nobody wants that war. Let's head back to the game for a minute and have a little fun there. We'll get back to the Wang Chung. I know it's Gordon Chang, but I don't know. Wang Chung sounds funnier. Alright, so we're going to play some Orxies real quick.
Ready for murdering.
Little break. It's been a half hour of news, me talking and yapping. Yeah, we'll fight you real quick. We will quick save. And we will fight the battle. But yeah. So, China's getting a little ahead of itself there, in my opinion. I called it a while ago. China was not doing good things. They knew what they could get away with once this COVID thing started. So they kind of took advantage of that situation, in my opinion. And India is going to suffer the most. If they do decide, I mean, they've already gone out of their way to push people's buttons. The fact that India didn't respond in kind is kudos to them, because I know if that had happened to Americans, we'd already be at war. There would have been no recourse, no saving them. You know, we would have gone directly to war for that. Alrighty. And these guys should still be just in range. Give them, yeah, alright. Fire the goblins! I do love this. Look at them fly! Whee! Alright.
Here we go. Moving fast.
Let's get to the flank. Should spur them
Shifted.
to have a few dudes break off
Run,
after my
boys.
wall or my boar riders.
Warden.
See, once was a larger force,
The immortals are ready.
is no longer.
The Black Hawks away. Moving fast. Choppers ready. Shifting.
Moving fast.
On Grimgar.
Hey, don't just stand there and get shot,
Slaughtering.
dumbasses. And you shoot them.
This better than them. Let's fight. Gonna kill him. Moving fast.
Oh boys.
Yeah, so China is, this is mostly a foregone conclusion at this point, but China has been ramping up to kind of flex their nutsacks, so to speak.
The war is here.
They want to, I don't know, prove a point, I guess, or I don't know. In the article is stating that they have the heavenly mandate to take on everybody and to rule the world. The warg button there.
We're the grain time.
Go ahead and plow into them before I lose a whole unit.
Goblins.
This stick needs blood. Oh boys.
Gonna kill him.
Okay, they're still bombarding them. Yep. Squish!
Oh boys.
Killed their warlord.
Smash 'em.
Go ahead and run them back over here to end this little battle.
We is better than them.
Not much left. Where are they at?
Oh boys.
And yeah, that's about right.
Boys. Yes, boss. Bring us to battle.
We have finished them off.
Let's get 'em.
Yeah. Goblins are the best ammo, Bex. Yes, they are. How was your day, Miss Bex? Yeah. So China's been getting uppity with all that, and we'll go over it in more detail. But they're talking about how they have the mandate and all this, that, and the other, and you know, it almost feels like posturing. Like the big thing is, the big hoopla is now they have a bigger navy than us. Errands suck. Yes, they do. Well, here's the thing. They may have a bigger navy, but we still have a massively bigger air force. And last time I checked, now I don't know if this project has gone all the way through. I know, as far as I know, it's not top secret in any way, shape, or form. But if it is, well, I guess somebody will come knock on my door later. But the F-22 can go up with a B-52 converted aircraft and proceed to happily shoot hundreds of missiles, or that's an exaggeration, obviously, but a large amount of both air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles off of what is essentially a giant, slow-moving missile platform. And they coordinate between the two, and they all track off of the F-22's massively overpowered radar system, and they can hit a metric ton of targets without ever leaving the safety of high altitude. So, do I worry about their ships? No, because we have airplanes. I know they have airplanes too, but guess what? The F-22 is better than their airplane. I guarantee it. Uh, that's one thing America has done very well, only once having been outshadowed, and that was during World War II. Ever since then, we've kept the lead on purpose. So, uh, yeah, and we have the A-10. I know it's not the greatest plane ever created, but it is awesome. So, I do not worry about China in that regard. I believe there's two reasons why China will never be able to invade America. And these are things that are currently trying to be eroded, and they have been tried to be eroded for a while now. Um, a, and I'm not going to remember the quote exactly, other than what he said. I just don't remember who made the quote, but I know there was a Japanese general during World War II who stated that you could never invade America because there'd be a gun behind every blade of grass. And this is true. We have more guns in civilian hands than we have civilians. There's a reason why people have long since held the tradition of the Second Amendment, because for the simple fact that America learned way back in the day that if you arm all your people with weapons of a similar type as to those that an invading military would have, then they cannot and will not be able to invade your country, because it's like having a country of soldiers. We are a country of warriors in our root. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, pink, yellow, blue. I don't care what color you are. And I say that because, the Blue Man Group exists, and they paint themselves blue. And if they want to charge out in a battle painted blue and, with kilts on like in Braveheart, that's fine. But they'll have guns. If I have a gun and I have an extra gun, and you're somebody I know who can point the barrel in the correct direction, I'm going to give you the extra gun. So that way, two people are firing in the correct direction. I'm going to, wait, we got recruitment rank, or treasury, or eat. Eat them up. Alright, he's going to run off.
Into motion.
And I got a reward. Cool. Someday that woman's going to get me into a kilt, and I'm going to be terrified. Ooh, we got to level up. We will take care of that. We always start with Route Mercher. That way we get extra movement. Deadly R, 20 armor. Yes, please. We'll hit. Oh, got some research to do here. Go faster. Campaign movement range. Go bigger. Growth. We'll go faster for first, and then we'll go bigger. But yeah, so a lot of fun in that regard. We will end turn, and it'll do its thing. Oh, I will let it finish doing its turn, and then we'll go back to the news here real quick, folks. A little reprieve from the news. Still talking about the fun stuff, but a little bit of game, a little bit of news, all at the same time. Oy vey. Go faster. A lot of people in the world still. I'll continue this campaign, and as I go along, and if I get to the point where I've got a lot of enemies around, I'll stop and save it and things like that. But during the dead time, the building aspects of it, you're not going to really want to watch that. So I'll just kind of skip around, keep you apprised of what I've done and where I've gone with it, but Just having fun. He's running to hide in Iron Rock. Game won't progress if I go to the other tab. There we go. Alright. Now, like I said, the cool thing about this game versus like RimWorld, I can just stop now. Nothing else is going to happen while I talk about the news. So. Okay. So. He goes on a little bit about how China has been building up, things like that. The United States shouldn't be enriching a hostile regime that is configuring its military to kill Americans. China analyst Gordon Chang or Wang Chung. In an interview with Fox News, blah blah blah, expressed support for President blah blah blah. I'm not worried about that. Economy for China calling the move absolutely a good idea. Now this guy, the Gordon Chang, he predicted that China would fall like 10 years ago. He made a book about it. I believe where it says it in here. Maybe it was in the actual video. I think it actually states it down here. I think China. Let's find it. Where'd you go? Anyway, he said it was gonna fall. It didn't. The reason for that is, in all honesty, is because of between Democrats basically sending all of our industry over there, and us Americans liking to get things that are neat, that are cheap, that we can buy. You know, it's just how it is. We are Americans. Like we are a consumer. We are probably one of the last consumer cultures, even though it used to be a common thing. We used to there used to be mostly consumer cultures. What I mean by that is trade and buying of goods, things like that. They used to fuel everything in the world. Now we're trying to change it so that we only use the things that we 100% need. So if you need housing, well, that's not you need that, well, government will give you that. But if you want that flat screen TV, go ahead and buy that. We'll pay for your housing. This is kind of how they want things to go. Well, China's like, oh yeah, we do that for our people. We give them everything that they need. Well, the difference being is what you choose to need and what the government chooses that you need are going to always be two totally different things. Because the government doesn't want to spend money on you, especially if you're young or elderly. You are useless to them. Well, not in China so much because they do put little kids to work, so I don't know. But yeah, so apparently they've built up a navy so large that it's making people fear that they're going to kill Americans because they're going to invade via boat. No. I'm sorry, that won't happen. If they're going to invade, it is going to be by aircraft. 100%. And then other people said, like, oh, well, they built up all their nuclear. Well, if they want to shoot off a bunch of nuclear weapons, that's fine. As soon as they hit upper atmosphere and satellites trigger saying, hey, there's missiles on the way, guess what? We're going to launch ours and nobody's going to be alive. Just how it's going to be. China's not that dumb. They know this. Mad is not something that has gone away. And I'm not talking about the emotion or the drunk driving ladies. Anti-drunk driving ladies, sorry. Mutually assured destruction. It is a thing that still exists today. It will exist until all time. Like, we can't get rid of it because the moment America gets rid of ours, somebody else will get theirs. Does that make sense? Like, if we were to go, oh, well, we don't like nuclear war. Nuclear war is terrible. We're going to dismantle all of our nukes. China would say, good job. Boom. We're gone. And not all of us, just the major cities. The major hubs of our military, things like that. They're just going to do it because, well, now there's no reason for them not to. They'll come over here, they'll wait, well, I guess, how many ever years. They'll start taking over small cities and things like that. The industrial areas where they needed resources from, iron and steel, things like that. The production hubs that they could easily restart. Because you got to remember, at one time, America was massive when it comes to producing things. We used to have the best. We used to make the most. And I'm not referring to the Sherman tank. We just made the most of those. They were not the best, but they did their job. That's kind of how China's military is now. They aren't the best, but they have the most. Well, here's the thing. We have the best. And, well, World War II taught us one thing. If you have the best, you have a tendency to be able to overrule the most. Now, it doesn't mean 100% it overrules it because, well, in the end, the Nazis lost. Because, well, we had the most, and then we had some of the best. We had a mixture of both. China definitely has the most. They have the most people. They have halfway decent stuff. But I've seen the quality of Chinese workmanship. For some reason, I'm not afraid. Not that I think that their military level is at the same level as their, what they sell, the crap they sell us. But because they're going to have standards in place and things like that because they want them to do a certain thing, and it's important to them to have a military because according to move fast, that it means to see problems not in the 2030. There's been no country that has ripped us off more than China. Trump said, yeah, Trump was not like that. Did not like them. Where'd they go? They said China believes it needs to move fast, and that means we're going to see problems not... Oh, that's just the thing I just read. Hold on. I thought it said it in here. Anyway, they talk about their mandate from heaven. They have the ability, they have the divine right to rule the world. Well, I'm sorry, China. Nobody's ever ruled the whole world. There's a reason for that. There's too much world. I know we have far better communication nowadays than we did back in I think the largest was the Khan Empire, the Genghis Khan. He had the most land of any one time. He had the largest empire of any period. I want to say that's true. I've heard that before, but I'm thinking it also might have been a lot of people say Rome, but I think Genghis Khan was actually larger. Roman Empire was big too, and they eventually fell to well, obviously once they started having problems, they got invaded and lands got taken and things like that, but they actually fell to infighting and a lack of ability to govern that much land. And it's not that big. It's a lot, but it's not much bigger than, if I'm not mistaken, land percentage-wise, it's not much bigger than the United States of what they actually had. They just had it spread out over a much longer distance, which was part of the problem. Having been in Italy and things like that, it does not take long. It's a day drive to go from Pordenone to Germany. That's 3 countries away. That's driving through 3 countries. So the thought that, oh, well, the Roman Empire, expanded from here to here. Well, that's like expanding Texas. It's pure mileage or kilometer aspect. It's not that large. The United States, it only takes 4 to 5 days if you had people rotating to drive from end to end. That used to take years. A different set of people would end up a different family generation would end up in Oregon once the Oregon Trail started. So be aware of the difference in that time, as far as that goes. But also, you're going to have dissidents. You may have a massive military in your China, and you may be able to expand a large amount of area. But just like Germany found all those years ago, you can't keep a hold of it because the people who are loyal to you they only expand so far. Eventually, you're going to run out of people. And now you might find some in the areas you've taken over to recruit from, maybe a little bit, but for the most part, they're just not going to like you because you just invaded their country. They're going to plot against you and things like that. And this is America. So our plots against you involve firearms, tanks, mortars, cannons, all sorts of fun toys that we are allowed to have in this country. All these fun things that you have no way of stopping us from doing. Because you don't have enough people there's no way you have enough people on the ground to stop this. You would have to send your entire country, or at least half of it, over here. And while you were doing that, the surrounding countries of China would go, oh, they have very little military presence in their country now. Let's go invade them. So, yeah, because if you're pissing off the guy who's, we may not have the best reputation among civilians, but governments, we are their favorite. Because every time somebody pees in their pot or kicks their puppy, America has long since been there to kick back. So all those years of police actions, and what they call police actions, where our military goes in and kicks somebody out and, helps another country out for our own profit, mind you. But, we aren't entirely, giving people. We do want something in return. But if we pull our support entirely from the UN or the World Health Organization, like when we pulled our support from the World Health Organization, they started crapping their pants because most of the ships that they take to the places to help, those are all our ships. We own them. They're our stuff. So if we pull out of the World Health Organization, that's why they started getting all crazy when the COVID-19 thing happened, and they were like, no, America has to do this. And Trump went, no, we don't. And if you have a problem with that, we're going to pull our World Health Organization support, which means you will have nothing. We've long been daddy does everything. And to think that China is going to be able to invade us is ridiculous. Now, will they be a problem? Yes. Do I really think they're going to try to invade? They may piss in India's pot, and they'll get an immediate backlash from most of the world. Them doing this also really, truly hampers Black Lives Matter's Marxist movement and the anarchist movement. It really shuts them down because the moment we go to war as America, we tend to have a focus shift. It has always been this way. World War I, depression. World War II, great prosperity. Depression in the 80s, we head over to the Middle East. Depression in the early to mid 2000s, we go to war again. We have a tendency to thrive and prosper from war. Not that we do it specifically because of the war, but we have a tendency as a people to focus and do things the way we should do them all the time. Anyway, and in all honesty, I wouldn't actually mind going to war with China, because at least then maybe they'll start the draft. We can get rid of some of this chaff we have in our country. I'm sorry, that's mean, but in all honesty, all those anarchists who want to blow up government buildings and do all this, that, and the other, well, if we go to war, it seems to me like they might have some skills we need. We might be able to utilize these skills to blow up some communists. But, yeah. So Gordon Chung thinks that they need to be taken care of. Now, his book was wrong, which I give him props for saying, oh, whoa, I way underestimated their level of stupidity. We're going to have to do this now. Double stockpile of nuclear warheads. Pentagon. Who cares? You don't need that many to cause a nuclear winter. Nuclear death of the world. It doesn't take nearly as much as we already have more than enough. So, I don't care if they have more. Trump's gonna apparently sever ties with them in an interview. But yeah, so as far as the whether or not China's going to invade or if it's a big bad thing that they have boats, just means that they're ready. That's all it means to me. And it won't be fun, it won't be pretty. But yeah, don't worry about it though. It won't happen. Not in my opinion, anyways. Could it? Yes. Will it? Probably not. All right. Oh, the terribleness. Before I get into this terribleness, hold on. I don't want to jump into that right away. Let me go do something non-disgusting. Yeah, we're gonna jump back over here and recruit some dudes. Yeah, that is a terrible story that I really don't even want to talk about, but it is very important to talk about the things we don't want to talk about sometimes, as well as the things that we do. We'll just get all 4 of those. We'll enter. But yeah, so if you saw it there, or if you can still see it on the screen up here in the corner, a man and his wife, along with a couple of others. So there's in New York, there's this apparently a roving gang of, if you support Trump, we're going to just walk up and shoot you Summer of Sam style. And this all stems from the fact that people just they have no fear of repercussions right now. Because there's so much other stuff going on that nobody seems to care about this man getting shot in the head and the chest in his car. He's just driving somewhere. Actually, his girlfriend was, believe, was driving. And that can happen to any of us. These people really got to be stopped. We cannot have this in our country. It's just not okay. And I feel bad for New Yorkers, because by all means, that dude probably walked up and talked smack and pointed the gun at him and all that stuff. Well, guess what? That was probably more than enough time if that man was able to freely have a firearm to have protected himself, as well as his girlfriend, who apparently she did not get shot, thank God. But yeah, so this happened because somebody didn't like somebody else's political view, or somebody didn't, care for the way he looked at him. Or it doesn't really matter why he chose to do it. It wasn't the correct thing. And I don't know. You can't expect America to just sit by forever. Democratic cities that have gone out of their way to take the guns out of lawful people's hands. This is not going to keep the guns out of those who want to break the law. I don't understand. It frustrates me to the core why people think people who are bound and determined to break the law give a flying doo-doo monkey bird. I'm trying not to say the other words, the bombs, the other 4-letter words, that they care about your gun laws, because they're already intending on robbing that store, shooting that person, doing harm to somebody else, and they feel that they need a gun to do it. It's not going to stop them from doing it. If they've got to go to another state, hire a 18-year-old kid who, Or even hire a bum who's got an ID. So we'll before I do this, I'll save this real quick. Not ready to do this yet. So are you done saving? No, you're gonna. Oh, are you gonna crash on me? No, okay. So we'll head back to that art. All right, man in car shot in head as bullets fly in New York City on Labor Day weekend. Again, Trump accuses Democrats. 5 people were shot in the Big Apple on Sunday, including a man killed while sitting next to his wife in a car in Queens. As gun violence continues to plague the city, police said. A woman called 911 called police around 12:50 a.m. and said her husband was shot near 23 3rd. I'm assuming those are streets. It doesn't matter. College Point Boulevard. Police sources said. Uh, Police arrived at the scene, found 25-year-old man in the passenger seat of a Nissan Rogue. Why is that important? I don't know. With a bullet wound to his head and chest. And a woman seated next to him, cops said. First of all, I mean, that woman must have been in severe shock to sit in the car while the cops got there. Because you know it did not take zero amount of time. It took a while for them to get there. Pronounced the man dead on the scene. 2 men ran from the scene on foot. I was in my room. This guy here, he heard 2 loud shot bangs. He thought it was coming. Loud bangs. He was 19. Thought it was firecrackers. It was the holiday weekend. Police sirens. Shortly after 2 a.m., police said another man was shot, wounded during a dispute outside a home in Queens. So they bring up a couple more. They bring up all these shootings throughout the 23-year-old victim. Now this one, but there's a correlation between the first one, timeline, and distance. There is a couple of people on a let's murder people spree. Now, even if this wasn't politically motivated, uh, there was a CNN, I think it was CNN or one of the other ones, that stated that it was a Antifa deal. So I'm not sure. It doesn't state in this one, and I'm not going to quote anything directly without having it in front of me. But Black Mask at Blake Avenue and Amboy Street. Another shooting took place at 1:30. Details were not immediately available. So there's at least 2 people that they know of running through the streets, shooting people. And this happening is a direct correlation of people in power not stomping those doing the violent acts. If you are out there peacefully protesting, you deserve to be protected. I know you don't like the cops, but that's okay. They're there for another reason. They're not there to harm you. They're there to protect everybody involved. And if you just peacefully protest and walk away, I know it's against your better nature apparently, but if you just protest, get your word out, carry on. MLK did this. Why can't you? Malcolm X lost that battle. There's a reason why his brand of, what's the word I'm looking for? His brand of civil rights didn't take off. Because eventually people figured it out. He just wanted to kill people. He just wanted violence in the streets. He was a aspiring warlord from Africa. He wanted to commit genocide. He did not have people's good intention. He did not have good intentions for people. Black, white, green, again, it Doesn't matter your color. He wanted violence. And that's all these people want. And this is a sombering and sobering moment for most of you. And if it's not, it should be. Because if we don't come together as a country, this is what's going to happen. It's going to spread. And I know there's going to be, eventually there's going to be a tuss-up in a suburban or suburban area. They're gonna march down the street. I mean, there's already been a few cases of it, but for the most part, they just walked off. They didn't do like they're like, oh well, they were just peacefully protesting through my front yard. No, that's my stuff. I drove them off. I sent them away. And it showed, they're like, oh well, we were doing nothing but peacefully protesting. Well, tell that to the three houses beforehand who had broken windows and smashed cars. Uh, that's not a peaceful protest. That's a riot on the move. And yes, you were going to an idiot's house in the end. Like, your end goal was to go to the mayor's house to protest this thing and all that fun. To protest her directly, actually. Defund the police and all that. And then all your stuff got shut down because now you're threatening her directly. Once you threaten a Democrat directly, they tend to take action in the correct direction. So, but yeah, this is just the beginning. If we don't pull our heads out of our ass, New York City needs to pull its head out of its ass before it ends up into another Detroit. They're already losing housing. They're losing people in housing. I've heard the statistic a bunch of times. Like, it's an insane amount. Like 14,000 people have just fled. Just fled New York City. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. They canceled their leases, pay their extra how much ever to cancel the lease. They just abandoned their stuff. Now the New York government's coming in and buying all those homes. Well, now the government has a bunch of like apartment buildings and stuff. What are they going to do with it? Well, they're going to turn it into low-income housing to try to save face. Like, oh, you can come back. This is low income now. You can come back and move in. Well, they did the same exact thing in Detroit. And it did not turn out well. Detroit descended into chaos for a decade. And people there, like, now you go back and there's just nothing. It's an abandoned wasteland because nobody wants to live there. And eventually that's what will happen in New York City. And then you know what will happen? New York will become a red state. Because once you reduce the population in New York City by like, it's not even that much if I remember right. It's just a couple, like 100,000. A couple 100,000 people leave New York City, stop voting Democratic, and bam, New York's Republican. So that's my theory on that. This is the other thing here. I will fight a battle in Warhammer before we go through this. This is a very sad thing that this man got to this point to begin with. But after the sobering news of New York City, let's go ahead and fight this battle and see if we can't win this. Hopefully we can get to the point where we fight somebody other than fellow greenskins. Ba-doop-ba-doo. Alright. Come on now. Oh, no, no. That. And that. We will make a lovely Oh, goody. Another flat map. Whatever will I do? Alrighty. We will move our catapults back here. And our archers, our one lonely archer set there. We have Grim. And we'll move these guys over here. Alrighty. They will peer off in the distance. I didn't know where they were to begin with. Oh, come on. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. 3. Run faster, little goblins. Oh, they're going to form up. Ah, look at them run. Oh, so scary. Oh, waiting on them to get into range so I can bombard them. And, oh look, they're already hurt for some reason. I can't imagine why. Oh, look, 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 look. Ooh-wee, goblin ammo. Well done, sir. More goblin ammo. Ooh, nice hit. We'll go to play level.
Shifted. We're the green tide. Here we go. For walk.
Slowest cavalry ever.
More boys. Chopper's hat.
They happily gave me all their dudes.
This is it. Boys. Run, boys. Smash 'em.
Bind them up real quick and throw in my warlord. There.
Chopper's
Should
ready.
have just about nuked their arrow boys back there.
Where's Gobbers?
Take these guys over here on the flank. I do better.
Now where is here?
They are broken and shattered.
Boys.
I don't care about the warlord. I want the archers dead. And then I will plow into the back of these guys now that I've broken them. Uh-oh, they're gonna hit my... Okay, good. Woo! They're gonna hit my dudes.
Let's fight!
But yeah, hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Black is the new.
Well, I have thoroughly slaughtered them. Oh, well, except for them. Hold on, where am I?
Oh, what's that?
I need you guys over here. Pull out of that fight. And I'll have you smash into them.
Running.
You can go right after their warlord. At some point, they will stop making it so the AI just stands there and gets pelted endlessly.
Let's scrap. Get 'em.
Someday.
Running.
Ooh, look at all them corpses. Ooh, all sorts of dead greenskins. Gross. Yeah. Oh. Okay. You're not doing so well. Get out of there.
Moving fast. Let's fight. Ready to kill.
I shattered that dude, but you need to come over here.
Stop 'em.
Moving fast.
I am losing that fight.
Stop it yet. Time for silk.
Oh, oy, oy. There we go. Now they're breaking. But I took a big hit on my cavalry. That's unpleasant. Ah, when he charges in, they go flying. It's great. And we'll speed that up. Well, he shoots at... Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I guess we'll just end the battle. Okay. But... yeah. So, we'll get on to the very sad, and then I believe after that I have the happy news. So, we will end on the happy news today. So as it gets done loading. Oh my goodness, what is taking so long with the loading? Loading, loading, loading. The loading takes forever today. Alrighty. Oh, we're gonna eat them. And he's gonna go running back. Ah. Yep, there you go. Back in your hole. But, alright. Hey, I got my technology researched. Okay, so. On to the next bit of news. Okay, so we have an Army veteran, Ronnie McNutt. He committed suicide on Facebook. He's a 33-year-old Army veteran from Mississippi who served in Iraq. He ended his life on Facebook, on social media. He worked at a Toyota plant. He lost both his job because of COVID-19, and apparently, according to rumors, he lost his girlfriend as well at the same time, which is a lot to handle, and especially if he was a proud owner of some PTSD. I do understand his plight. Um, it can be hard, and I feel terrible for him. I feel terrible for his family as well. Uh, I wanted to highlight this one especially because if you, not for that he committed suicide or that it's on TikTok or anything like that, but if you feel this way, please reach out. I don't care if it's to me while I'm streaming. Reach out. We'll get, there's help out there. I promise you. I I suffer the same thing. It sucks. I know that. Uh, Apparently TikTok swears up and down they're trying to shut it off, but in all honesty, I do not believe that at all. I believe that they are 100% just letting it go because it's giving them massive ratings. And they took a big hit after everybody deleted their app. And now a bunch of people re-downloaded it because they want to try to find this video for whatever morbid ass reason. I hate the Washington Post, this little banner that pops down every 8 seconds. Uh, but yeah, don't search for it. Don't find it. It was a cry for his to be heard. It's not even a cry for help. When you do it like that, it's not a cry for help. He wanted his plight to be heard. Somebody should have listened beforehand. And no, it is not his girlfriend's fault. No, it's not the Toyota plant's fault. Somebody, he was let down by the system, by the VA, long before that. The VA tries its best. I do not deny that, but there's just not enough. And he may not have been able to get his counseling because of the COVID-19. He may have been, his medication may have been delayed. Who knows what was causing this? But this is all because somebody didn't listen. Somebody was not listening to him because they were too afraid of COVID-19, or they were too afraid that, they couldn't make enough money because not enough Toyotas were being bought, or somebody else had more priorities, and in the end he wanted to be heard. And this should not be how we have the wake up call. This should not be how his friends and family finally took notice. There's always um, there's always help out there. At the bottom of this particular reel, if you go on here, it has several links for the suicide hotline prevention and things like that. If you They have their safety center, all that stuff. If you want to get a hold of them directly and you need help, just call 1-800-273-8255. You can find that by just looking up National Suicide Hotline. They will help you out. I will post a link also in the description to that. But yeah, you need to make sure that you get help. They'll at least talk to you. They'll listen, no matter what. Now, I know for a fact some people have their case of PTSD and things of its such nature get so severe that they cannot get away from, like, it's almost they aren't really, like, they're trying to root what is real in the world out, and they can't manage it. They cannot get to what is the reality of the situation because they're under so much stress. Their mind is just breaking their world. I will also post a link to the Veteran Crisis Line as well. That's the same number. Yeah, but yeah. So there are many avenues out there. Now, that does not mean, and I understand this, that coming from a military background, you don't want to ask for help. It's hard. I know that. And I get it. I will suffer through much pain and agony to not have to go to the hospital because I do not like going to the hospital because that's asking for help. I don't like asking for help. I like figuring things out myself. I know this as a person, and I know it's a commonality among military members because we did for so long. We did it ourselves. We did what we had to do. But this shouldn't be the reason why we finally wake up and go, oh, maybe we shouldn't be so afraid of COVID-19, because when you're this afraid of something and you isolate so many people away from all the things that they had begun to rely on to get through, healthily get through their depression and things like that. Yeah, so don't for an instant think you're alone. Find help. But enough on that terrible note. We have Pelosi again. So apparently, our lovely governor of California, or representative in California, our Speaker of the House, says, House Democrats are unified in our commitment to American workers and families. Happy Labor Day. This woman is called basically for the using her own platform and her own people has made it so a woman who was working very hard at a hair salon, running it herself, a singularly owned business, has been they have had death threats, they have had all this, but she cares about the American worker. She was not set up. You cannot set someone up to do something willingly. Like, they didn't call you. Like, she didn't have Nancy Pelosi's phone number in a Rolodex. It's like, oh, I mean, and I say that with the Rolodex thing because the woman is 150 years old and she has a Rolodex. I got a sneer from the left because she has a Rolodex.
I'm forced to keep a Rolodex.
She is forced, there's air quotes, to keep a Rolodex.
At work, dork.
Uh-huh. I've seen it. She keeps it in her sock drawer. Ah! No tickles! Tickles are evil.
Because you giggle.
Yes, and I don't like giggling. Manly laugh. Ha 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 ha.
Cute.
But yeah, so Nancy Pelosi, after having a woman, I don't know if she's a lovely woman, I don't know her, but after having a hardworking, independent business owner, basically ran out of the city with pitchforks and torches because she was set up. Our lovely Nancy Pelosi could not do anything wrong. She had no idea that she had to wear a mask. Yes, people, she did not know this. It's on the news every single day. So this, either she is the most incompetent Speaker of the House ever to reside. I don't know that there was any more than two. She is that old. I think it was the person before her and her are the only two people who have ever been the Speaker of the House. You know, she saw Lincoln free the slaves. Let's put it that way. Okay, we need term limits, folks. I'm sorry, but we do.
You need a career other than being a politician.
Yeah, career politician, that's not a career. That's, that's just, it's just not okay. We have term limits on presidency for a reason.
You're disconnected from the people you represent.
She's beyond the age of fully understanding what people in her constituents, or even her constituents' wants or needs. The only reason why she's never been, why they haven't tried to firebomb her house is because she has, Secret Service around her all the time, and they would just be shot on sight. She claims to not want, to take guns out of people's hands. Yet she is surrounded by 5 dudes with fully automatic MP5s. Yeah, that's what they want. They want to remove your ability to defend you and give it all to themselves. That way, when, the proverbial monkey throws it in the fan, it only sprays on you and not her. But yeah, so she denies allegations with spark the critics, accuse her of trying to hurt a small business owner trying to provide for her 2 young children. This is the actual quote from Twitter. Another person. Okay, I wanted to go through some of the comments here. These were pretty funny. One commenter responded to tweet, "Is this the same middle class that sets you up? Or nah?" That was pretty good. Nice hair. I liked that one. They did not immediately respond. Unless the Republicans are willing to spend at least $2.5 trillion. What? Over a new coronavirus stimulus package. Treasury Secretary Martin Munch said Sunday that Pelosi is refusing to negotiate unless the Republicans are willing to spend at least $2.5 trillion. To sit down and negotiate unless they agreed to something like a $2.5 trillion deal to advance. I don't know what that is. Munchen? I did not hit space, you stupid thing. No, not Munchkins, you stupid thing. What was it? Huh? Oh, Munchen unemployment aid. What is this? So we're gonna find out together, folks. Well, okay, that's what. Oh, no, we can't have this. No. So they're already getting $400 more a week? Nobody would go back to work. You cannot. Yeah, you cannot. Does anybody have any idea how much that is a month? That's roughly $4,000 a month. I didn't make that on my best days. Nobody will go back to work. Unemployment. Yeah. So the 600. Oh no, the 600 is supposed to end, but they want to increase. They want to take it back to 400 per week for eligible unemployment. Okay. Well, still, that's 400 a week. That's $1,200 a month. It's not a lot, actually. I mean, in all honesty. Approve lost wages program authorizing the state to provide 400 for eligible unemployment individuals. So so it's 400 on top of what they normally give. I don't know if that's more or less than what they were doing 600 on top, so now they want to continue the 400 on top. I still don't like that. Like, 80 billion remains in fund. There's a massive difference between 150 billion and 2.5 trillion. Huh. Anyway, asked to put 3 trillion into the economy when the economy was completely shut down and we've now reopened the economy. Let's do a more targeted bill. Pelosi said the Democrats' proposal would help working families and countries struggling for food to pay rent. Yeah, I agree. The stimulus, like another stimulus check, that I can agree with. Extending unemployment to that degree,
Yeah.
that is not an okay thing, because people need to get back to work. Because if we don't get back to work, then things aren't going to get made. There's not going to be any more. At some point, if you keep giving out all the taxes from this year, you're not going to have any taxes for the following year. You know what I mean? If nobody's working, nobody's paying taxes. If nobody's paying taxes, there's no money to go out. That's how money works. You can only have so much. It has to go back and forth between us and the government. So, yeah. Biggest thing is yeah, we need the stimulus check. Great idea to happen again. I would not mind that at all. Only because there are a lot of people right now who have, robbed Peter to pay Paul during the low income that'll allow us to set the level. Once we're set the level, we don't have to do that anymore, and we can continue on working. Now that things are opening back up, we can go back to work. We can continue the trend as it should have been started with. But we had the shutdown. Then you had the stimulus package, the stimulus check during the first attempted reopening, and then we shut it all back down again. So the first stimulus check is gone. We tried to do that. We tried to have the ability to set the level and get everything back to straight, but then they shut us down again because 8 more people got sick, and New York killed half their old people population, and so did Florida. I think Florida was just tired of all the old people, but
Land of the newlywed and the nearly dead.
yeah. But yeah, so that gives you that is a more important thing as to why people, why we aren't getting it, because this dude here, Steven, his name is dumb. I'm sorry. You have a stupid name. You can't help it. I know it's not your fault, but Munchen is like, it's too close to Munchkin. I can't help it. He's Steven Munchkin. Sorry. From this day forward, I'll send in the paperwork to change your birth certificate. Because Munchen that's dumb. I'm sure it's a fine name and it's worth a lot, but it's just terrible to try to read. Yeah, so his little bill where he wants people to be paid for unemployment for longer is not an okay thing.
No good.
All right. Well, we might just finish this up right in time. We will come back to our lovely good news. Let's head back to the game for a moment. We have some upgrades to do over here. Let's get that. And Goblin Toolbox. Actually, that requires a 4 level. And we'll upgrade that as well. Alrighty. We'll leave him raiding for a while. Oh, he's got to level up. We'll click that button. We will do Scarred Veteran, Weapon Strength, and we'll call that good for now. Alright, folks. I'm going to hit the go button. Oh, we have more research. Shabastabas. No, we want to go bigger. Yeah, that's right. Alright, folks. I will leave you with that for just a moment. I will be right back.
Ooh, I can abduct the headset. Nice. What does he have going on here? we go. That looks like fun. I snitched your headset, and I will give it back.
And this is the lovely part of the map that we can't see. I thought you all might want to see that because it's not like I moved my mouse or my mouse fell over and it went over there accidentally or anything.
It's the scenic route.
Yeah, the scenic route.
I don't know if I turned your headset on.
Huh? It wasn't off.
I did talk. I turn mine off all the time. And then you guys are like, what?
This better involve fighting.
Alrighty. I need to recruit more. We'll just intern on that. We'll see if we can't get ourselves some. But yeah, so nature called. I had to answer. Not a problem.
Where's our lunch delivery?
I don't know. Our lunch delivery is late.
And I gotta get going.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get your lunch to go, unfortunately. Oh, well. Hello there, dwarf. Apparently I'm at war with you, and I was unaware of this fact. I, as well, will take the underway. Thank you. I will pop up inside my building. And now, what are you going to do, huh, punk? Huh?
Huh?
What are you going to do? Hmm?
Fight me!
I'm an orc.
Here we go.
Stupid, dwarfy, short leg. Very well done. Okay. Alright. So, well, we will let that even out. See if we get a dwarf fight. If I do, I will probably do that after the stream today. I know, it's fun to fight the dwarves. Oh, Skevens is... Hey, look, it's Nancy Pelosi.
Nice.
Oh, they want to help me. They demand 120 gold. Okay. And they will join in the war against them. Sure. I have no problem with that. That is a perfectly acceptable situation. Pay you a measly pittance to attack my enemy. Okay. Man, this is taking forever. There are a lot of, like, groups of people in here now. What is this? What are you doing? No, first of all. Decline attack. I don't even know. Oh, he retreated. Post haste. Alrighty. So, yeah. Probably have enough to start another stack, but... All right. Oh, there we go. Now we got some more troops. Let's get the Arrow boys. And maybe 2 more sets of... Let's build a cavalry setup, huh? I will... you can stay. And then... Great weapons, that's armor piercing and anti-large. I think I actually will take 2 of them. 1. We'll take actually, I just don't, the goblins suck in comparison. Alright. Oh, that's a thing you'll see right here. Like, expendable. There are no expendable armies in Total War. Don't believe it. But, alright. We will go back to the good news. We have a woman donates kidney to cop who locked her up. Why is this good? Well, so this woman here, in her youth, from between the years of 2007 and 2012, she was repeatedly arrested, or multiple times, it doesn't say how many times, for drugs and addiction and things like that. She believes he saved her life by arresting her and helping her turn her life around. When he went in to try to get a kidney replacement, they said it was going to be a 7 to 8 year wait. Well, this individual here is not in the youthful stages of his life, which is fine, but he probably didn't have that long. Jocelyn here, I was trying to find her name again. She apparently thought long and hard about it and came to the conclusion that it was up to her. And she just happened to be a match to the officer who put her into jail so many times and helped her. So the best part about this is it shows that just because this guy and this woman were on opposite sides at one time, in the end, they were Americans and they solved it the correct way. He helped her the best way he could as an officer. And then in the end, she got to repay the kindness given to her through, the justice system by giving him a kidney.
My story.
Did we do this one? We already played the kidney one? Oh, I didn't think we did it. I thought I saved it for today.
Yeah, Rebecca has a great story. I had to go find it real quick.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, that one's worth repeating. That's an amazing story.
It is a very good story. But I don't like to repeat myself. And I have 5 minutes. I'm going to find another story. Another good story. Here it comes.
Gonna beat you.
And I found puppies.
You found puppies?
I found puppies. Adorable boy with cleft lip finds his perfect match. A puppy with the same condition.
Aww.
Ah, everybody loves puppies. Yeah, look at the puppy. He's so cute. Look at his little cleft lip. Oh, they're so cute. And puppies are amazing. But I will leave you all with puppy and baby cuteness and bid you all a fond farewell. We will see you all tomorrow. My lunch is here. So we will, and I'd like to note the fact that looks like a partly pit bull puppy. And pit bulls are awesome. They left it out, but still. Let's see, did they say if it's a pit bull? Tiny pup. Nah. Anyway. They it's good stuff. So you all have a wonderful day. Let me know what you think of the new setup. It's partly rim rant, partly news. It's kind of jammed together. I think it worked better. I think the news got the attention it needed, and I think the game got the attention it needed at the certain points. So let me know what y'all think, and make sure to like, share, subscribe, or if you don't like it, make sure to comment as to what I could do to improve it. If you know of anything, if you have any articles or news that you would like to be read, leave it in a comment below. I will read it and I will get back to you on it. If I like the story, I'll present it. If not, then I won't. But that's just life. So I bid you all adieu and have a wonderful day. Thank you so very much.